I'd like to call to order the November 12th, 2020 meeting of the Board of Commissioners for the town of Mint Hill, North Carolina. We do have a quorum present. I'd like to ask Commissioner Long if he would lead us in our invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, please watch over us tonight. We ask for wisdom that we make decisions proper for all the citizens of our town. We ask for your protection over our police, fire, and military and those that serve us. Please bring us peace and unity to our nation in these trying times. We ask this in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in standing and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3 is additions, deletions, or arrangement of agenda items. Do we have any? None? Very good. Item number 4, approve minutes of the October 8th, 2020 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion. I have a second. Do I have any further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 5, consent agenda. A, accept October tax collector's report. B, accept September treasurer's reports and financials. C, approve resolution to formally accept Quail Park Drive and Leisure Garden Lane from NCDOT. D, authorize the town manager and town attorney to execute a contract for services with SKC Communications consistent with quote number 610-44132-53836, which you have attached. Item number E, authorize manager to execute contract to purchase property located at 6753 Lebanon Road, 6763 Lebanon Road, and 6736 Sherrill Circle.
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Item number 6, public hearing on ZC 20-8 filed by Charlotte Mecklenburg Board of Education to request a rezoning to allow an elementary school on property located at 11501 and 11615 Idlewild Road, parcel number 135-321-07. I believe the applicant is present. If you would state your name and address, please, sir. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
For the record. And then
Yes.
you have the floor.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Simmons, commissioners, Welsh. My name is Dennis Lucaria here on behalf of the Charlotte Mecklenburg Board of Education. My address is 1787 Lowell Bethesda Road, Gastonia, North Carolina, 28056. And I'm here this evening to speak about our proposed rezoning of the site adjacent to Mint Hill Middle School to construct an elementary school that was part of the 2017 bond referendum that the voters in this community passed overwhelmingly. We appreciate your support, and I appreciate your time and attention this evening. Walking through the submittal, this is what you have before you, but I will step through a PowerPoint presentation briefly to give you a little bit more color, if you will, on what's happening here. So this school, as I mentioned, is a 2017 bond project. It's a 45 classroom baseline elementary school that will have an attendance boundary later determined. And the intent is to provide relief for Bain, Lebanon Road, and Piney Grove elementary schools at a minimum with this new project. So we'll step through a few things, the site, schedule, and construction, and be available for any questions here. And we will be back, I guess, next week with the planning board as well. So this project is being designed by FWA Group, and Metcon is the CM at risk for Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. The site everybody should be familiar with. It is directly adjacent to Mint Hill Middle School on Idlewild Road. Taking a look at the actual site from an aerial, you can see the intended location of the new elementary school site. At the time the school site was purchased for the middle school, the intention was at one point to build an elementary school at the time that it was needed. was not funded at the time the purchase was made, nor at the time the middle school was constructed, but we are now at the place at the time that we need these seats. So again, highlighting the area where we will be looking to construct the new elementary school on that shared site. And this is an overhead layout of the site plan, where you can see we will be honoring the existing car and bus entries. Our intention is for the bus lot to be shared by both schools so that we can minimize the asphalt and impervious surface that we're building, be slightly more efficient with our use of funds, but have separate car park, play area, and service access for the new elementary school. I know one of the things that's going to be of interest is how we're going to handle the car stacking. And what I can say is, as a result of this project, things will be good for the elementary school and they'll be better for the middle school as well, because we'll have the opportunity to utilize both lots to marshal cars for both schools, because the schools will be on two separate bell schedules, which will allow us to flex the time that the cars are in the lot. So you can see here, you've got the entry point, and the red dashed lines are the way the cars would make their way in, and then through, dropping off in front of the school, back out via the middle school lot to Idlewild. So we would be getting more cars off the road that way. And then again, as I mentioned with the middle school, those cars would behave much the same way, running through the elementary school lot, around behind, and then dropping off in front of the middle school, which would help, we think, relieve congestion on Idlewild Road when the project's done. This is a rendering of the exterior. This is what you would see from Idlewild Road, the car park in front, the building behind. It's a 2-story classroom wing and a single story for admin and multipurpose and other service spaces. This is an aerial view of the floor plan itself. You can see the way the classrooms lay out on the first floor. There's a single point of entry at the front where the car park is. The administrative area is directly adjacent. And then walking towards the back, you're into the media center and the multipurpose room. Second floor, again, is nothing but classrooms, and some additional support spaces. So during the construction timeline, we are here now in November 2021. We are in design, as you can see, and working through the permitting and rezoning process. The intent would be that the school would open in August of 2023. During the construction, we will fence off the entire elementary school site. We will make sure that construction vehicles enter only from the bus driveway. And as typical when we have school construction underway, we don't allow construction vehicles to move 30 minutes either side of a bell, so that we don't ever have a conflict with construction equipment or the construction personally owned vehicles and the school pickup and drop off times. That completes my presentation for this evening.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for him this evening, Commissioner Long? Commissioner Cochran?
Just a comment, I like the way you designed that to keep traffic off Lebanon Road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Or Pro Tem Dalton?
Yes, I like the parking and the drop off. I was concerned. We've got a bad situation at Lebanon. Is the school being built with a design for additional building to grow if needed?
Well, so in the earlier bonds, we built 39 classroom elementary schools, and that was where we thought that we needed to expand those. So this will have 6 additional classrooms to begin with. So it's a 45 classroom baseline school. So there's some additional capacity built in here that we didn't do in years past.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Holden?
Just for my clarification on that timeline graph that you had shown, you said August of 23 is projected?
Yes.
Okay, because I thought it was August 22 on there was projected move in.
Yeah, I don't know, we lost the slide control, if you don't mind. Yeah, so move in there. Oh, yes, you're right. Sorry about that.
August 2022.
Yeah, I saw the 2023 on the slide. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's August 2022 is occupancy.
Okay.
You're
Perfect.
correct.
Thank
you. We'll be open then. Yes.
Anything further? Thank you for your time. Mint Hill's looking forward to it.
Thanks. We're excited.
Item number 7, public comments. Do we have Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
We have one comment to read to the record tonight, Mr. Mayor, from Young Kim, 11600 Idlewild Road, Matthews, North Carolina. What was the motivation and reasons to build a new elementary school? What will be the benefits and burdens for the local community? How will this new elementary school impact the traffic flow, pedestrian safety, road wear, and noise levels, since there is already an adjacent middle school during construction as well as during school? How will you prevent cars from pulling into private driveways across the street from the school? Will you be willing to construct a gate in the driveway of homes across the street in order to restrict cars from pulling into private driveways? Will an extra lane be constructed on Idlewild Road to increase traffic safety? What will be the impact on the quality of life and property values for homes across the street? Will the new school improve or deteriorate water pressure, internet stability/speed, and other utilities for homes across the street? When is the expected start end date of construction, as well as the days, hours of construction? Who can we contact with questions or concerns both before and during the construction?
Thank you, Manager Welch. And we'll make sure we get those to the appropriate people. And that was under the public hearing. So now we're under number 7, public comments. Did we have any? Thank you very much. Item number 8. Whereas the government of Mint Hill, North Carolina celebrates our small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 30.7 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all firms with paid employees in the United States and are responsible for 64.9% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2018. And whereas small businesses employ 47.3% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, 62% of U.S. small businesses reported that they need to see consumer spending return to pre-COVID levels by the end of 2020 in order to stay in business. 65% of the U.S. small business owners said it would be most helpful to their business to have their regulars return and start making purchases again. And 3/4 of the U.S. consumers are currently looking for ways to shop small and support their community. And whereas 96% of the consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agree that shopping at small independently owned businesses supports their commitment to make purchases that have a positive social, economic, and environmental impact. And 97% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agreed that small businesses are essential to their community. And whereas 95% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday reported the day makes them want to shop or eat at small, independently owned businesses all year long, not just during the holiday season. Whereas Mint Hill, North Carolina supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our community. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, I therefore, Brad Simmons, Mayor of Mint Hill, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim November 28th, 2020 as Small Business Saturday. And I urge that residents of our community and communities across the country support their small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Witness my hand and seal of the town of Mint Hill this 12th day of November 2020. Brad Simmons, Mayor. Item number 9 is appointments to our Land Use Advisory Committee. As y'all know, we've selected the people we're going to work with on the Land Use Advisory Committee. We've had a number of people in our community volunteer to help with this process, filled out applications to help with this process. And I think the number is 14 or 15. I didn't count them exactly, but you have all of them listed there in front of you. And it's always been my feeling, and I've shared it with the group before, that I'd like to see all of these people given the opportunity to work with us in this process. There's going to be a number of other people involved with it, but I've talked with them and I've talked with staff, and they feel that we could use all of the people that we have on the list there. So what I'd really like to do, if you're all in agreement, is to entertain a motion that we allow all the people listed that filled out applications to serve in that capacity.
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the ones that fill this out, these folks, to be the land use committee.
Second that.
All right, I have a motion. I have a second. Do I have any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting all the appointments to the Land Use Advisory Committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 10, presentation of proposed MHAA facility improvements. Town Manager Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To begin with, I want to make it clear that this is only a presentation of information. It's in no way a criticism of the Athletic Association and its ongoing mission. And it is certainly not an indictment of the tens of thousands of volunteer hours over the past 3 decades that have gone into making this organization a success. Without the foresight and efforts of countless others before us, along with the ongoing efforts of parents and volunteers today, the children of Mint Hill and surrounding areas would not be fortunate enough to have the opportunities to learn and play various sports, along with the intangible benefits of sportsmanship, teamwork, and camaraderie that are impressed upon them through group sports activities. Unfortunately, the efforts of these bold volunteers are now 3 decades old and starting to show their age. For example, lack of proper drainage features and stormwater detention are starting to take their toll on the site as a whole, while creating dangerous situations on many of the fields. Steve will speak in a little more detail about this issues and others the facility is currently facing. What we would like to present to you tonight are the findings of the financial analysis the board asked staff to conduct at the budget workshop in May of this year. This analysis includes paying off the current debt, making needed repairs, numerous improvements to existing conditions, along with several enhancements and amenities that will make the MHAA facility once again the envy of the entire county. While the efforts of those who have so graciously dedicated their time and poured their hearts into the development of this facility, at this time, the town is simply better poised to operate and maintain the physical facility while MHAA does what they do best: run a top-notch athletic program that has touched and will continue to touch the lives of tens of thousands of children in our town. I'm going to invite Steve to come up and go over some of the details, and I'll be happy as always to answer any questions. Steve?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Manager Welch. Manager Welch did a great job explaining the purpose of this issue. As he mentioned, I'm going to give you guys a summary of the improvements and the costs associated that we've identified in an analysis we've done of the facility itself. I want to stress, you have a detailed cost estimate and exhibit to go along with that in your packets. I'd like to stress before we get started that the details of these improvements have not been set in stone, such as locations, colors of things like that. This is a mid-level cost estimate in an analysis to bring these items to the forefront and talk about them here. So a quick overview of the existing conditions of the site. Mayor Simmons, please, you know better than anybody else in this room, please correct me if any of this is wrong. The grounds themselves were developed originally in 1994 on the backs of volunteers and through, I believe, solely through donations of time, money, and equipment. It's a facility that's very typical of any others, probably not just our region, across the country, a Little League facility, sports facility of this type. As Brian said, it's starting to show its age and some degradation, just typical of wear and tear of a facility like this, and just a core group of volunteers trying to keep their head above water for the facility. We've identified some safety hazards, some usability issues that are starting to show their head at the facility, as well as some new improvements we could bring to help better enjoyment of the facility itself. Those proposed improvements could be performed by our public works crew, in-house crews, as well as outsourcing some to contractor crews that would just do better or more efficient than our crews would. Like I mentioned, there's safety and usability improvements, some significant upgrades, and additional amenities. Safety things would include things like repairing dugouts where we've seen protruding nails, broken pieces of wood, maybe some fence pieces that could catch a sleeve or something as you walk by, some exposed wiring, some netting with holes or missing netting for foul ball protection for spectators, things of that nature. Usability would be field drainage. The T-ball fields sit under a layer of some sort of scum or mold for half the year because the water just can't get off the field. Usability / safety would be field grading, cut the lips off between the grass and the play that causes a ground ball to shoot up and catch a kid unexpectedly. Parking and driveway improvements, some lighting improvements, things of that nature. Upgrades would be, the most significant would be new LED lighting for all of the fields, including fields that are not currently lit. Batting cages, making repairs or replacing them with the model that we built out at Willgrove Park, had great success with that batting cage. Improvements or new improvements would include shade structures for spectators, which would include removing some of the structures that are in need of great repair and adding new shade structures, as well as adding a playground for the little ones while brother or sister play, or to be as an open public facility for people to come and enjoy a playground facility. The estimated costs of these improvements, again, you've got a detailed breakdown in your packet. There's four main groups there. The existing debt that is remaining from the construction of the senior field, new playground, miscellaneous improvements, and those LED lights. Some of those are hard costs and quotes that I've received from vendors. Others are averages adjusted for today's market and economy. The estimated annual cost to do this, if the town were to acquire the grounds as town property, would include an additional staff member to help maintain those grounds. The capital and equipment costs, just maintaining those grounds, more than what we currently have on hand to maintain Willgrove and veterans. The maintenance and utilities of the facility itself, all that totals approximately about $110,000 a year. With that, I'd like to open. Any y'all have any questions? I'd be happy to answer about the improvements and their costs.
Commissioner Long.
No, it's well presented. I guess one thing came up as I was reflecting on it. As you enhance this, do you see that it would increase the usage level, meaning more in and out of traffic of automobiles?
I would say there are times when fields are unusable. I'm going from personal experience here because of drainage problems or things like that. So yeah, there could be an increase in traffic. That wouldn't be the goal, to increase foot traffic there. It's mainly focused on safety and usability.
Correct. I agree. But that was leading up as how with Brief Road continuing to be a busier and busier artery into Mint Hill beyond our town limits, should this come into fruition, that maybe we may be tasked with some road improvements down the road from a safety standpoint.
Sure. We looked at those back when we were looking at the athletic park across the street. So we have some experience with those improvements if we needed to open that can.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Cochran.
My concern was primarily the same thing. I'm glad to see that we would improve. I think the safety. I think making it a park for all the smaller kids who aren't playing t-ball or coach pitch or whatever, have a swings or some activities there that they can be on while their brothers or sisters or families playing ball. I think that's a good idea. And I am concerned about the road. I live on Brief Road, but the traffic, once we open up the other park and this park, you're going to have lighting. If you get all the lighting on every park, you could be playing after dark. So that would increase some flow of traffic. So I don't know what we would do down there, but if you're going to have two parks together later on, I think it'd be something we need to sort of take a look at.
Mayor Pro Tem Dalton.
The parking lot currently is gravel. Are we looking at keeping it gravel or paving it?
I would recommend we keep it gravel. If we were to pave it or make a substantial improvement like that, we would probably trigger new stormwater requirements, larger ponds to retain that runoff. In addition, that would be a pretty significant expense compared to adding some new gravel and regrading.
And just to make a comment, I guess more for people with the LED lighting with the housing around it, that can be controlled lighting to just the park, correct?
Yes, from my experience with talking to some of these vendors, LED lighting is much more controllable or correctable. So much so that on some fields, to catch a pop fly, you actually need to aim an LED light up because there is not the bleed over from the old metal halide or the high pressure sodium lights. So it should be easier. It is easier to control spillover off of the property.
That's all I've got.
Commissioner Holton.
I think that just with the skill and expertise that our Public Works Department has, as been shown with Veterans Park, Will Grove Park, and other facilities around this area, I think it's only going to be a benefit. So I appreciate the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Fry. I think it's necessary for me to state at this point in time that we're not in any way attempting to change or take over the Athletic Association. This all started out of the Athletic Association coming to the town of Mint Hill and sharing with us the difficulties that they were having financially at the time. We don't want to be in the Athletic Association business. I repeat, as a town, we don't want to be in the Athletic Association business. However, Town Manager Welch and myself met with a group of individuals who at the time were acting as a advisory board, evidently with the Athletic Association, because they were not the elected board of the Athletic Association. They're currently in the process of trying to hold some Athletic Association elections. They do not currently have a board in place that would be recognized as a board in the Athletic Association because the members have not been elected by the members of the Athletic Association. So in no way, shape, or form are we trying to push ourselves on the Athletic Association. I want that to be perfectly clear. The original contact was by them coming to us, and in years past coming to us numerous times to ask for help. And so we felt like I myself and staff felt like it was definitely worth us investigating and getting you the information so that if it did come up down the road that they would like for this to take place, then we would already have the numbers and be able to make intelligent conversations. At this point in time, though, we do not have a board that we can go to as far as a board of directors that they have in place according to their bylaws, not our approval, but their bylaws. They do not have a board, a recognizable board in place that's been elected. So what I would like to see us do going forward and is this information is not only valuable to us as a board, but it's also valuable to the citizens of Mint Hill, because there will be some discussion about this, I promise you. And I would guess that in the last 27 minutes, it's probably started on social media already. And it should when we're talking about this kind of money. But what I would like to see staff do with you guys' blessing is get this information out to the public in Mint Hill. Share this information with them. Let them know where it came from. Even if we have some way that we can get the information to all the members of the Athletic Association, maybe they'll share email addresses with us that we could get it out to them. But with your blessing, I'd like to proceed in that direction and let it be known that we've not made an official offer to the town of Mint or to the Athletic Association, the Mint Hill Athletic Association, nor have they asked us to take over the property at this point in time. We're still in information sharing process. Anybody have any questions on that? Anybody have a problem with staff getting the information out to the public? Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 11, other business and council matters. Anybody have anything else? Mr. Bailey? Mr. Horde? Mr. Fry, thank you very much. Good presentation. Anything further? Chief Ledford? Thank you, sir. With that being said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn, Mayor.
Second.